Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sense of Things. Welcome to another week with Jeff and Ron. We are getting started on another week. We're past the Memorial Day weekend. We are into official summer. And here in Austin, we have the Air You Can Wear Plus. It is humid beyond belief. We actually have got rain, which is a good thing. This time, we're going to talk a little bit about Ron's got some stuff on an interesting stat about how fast companies went from $500 million starting off
Billion.
trading to a billion. He's got stuff on the savings rate, the core PCE and gas prices. I'm going to cover some really interesting stuff on some of the economy stuff that I usually cover, and I think some intriguing trends. So stay tuned. We'll be right back on in just 1 second. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Ron, how are you, my friend?
Doing well. You were talking about the weather. We've had terrific weather here in the morning. By the
Yeah,
afternoon, it feels like summer weather, but we don't have the humidity, thank God. But
yeah.
it's definitely summertime, but it's not Austin or Philadelphia or New
Uh,
Jersey humidity.
yes, I after our little jaunt up to Philadelphia, I'm like, I know why Ron left.
Listen, I didn't want to do, actually, it was more about the winters than the summers. I'll be very
Yeah,
blunt with you. You could deal with the summers because at some point when the winters, you can only put on so many clothes and you get cabin fever.
yep, yep.
So I hear you. All
Snow
right,
and
let's
yeah,
get going
yep.
here.
What do we got going on in history?
All right, so this week in history, it's not as many items that I thought were interesting, but there were some good ones. Henry Ford test drives his
Interesting.
first quadricycle, the first automobile he designed
Hmm.
and drove.
Okay.
1926, just had her 100th year anniversary
Yep.
birthday. Marilyn Monroe was born. Norma Jean.
Yes. And I watched something. They had some big event out in California where they had in Palm Springs, they had, I think, 1,800 people dressed like Marilyn. And there were
Yeah,
some ugly dudes wearing Marilyn costumes, is all I can say.
yeah, I'm not sure why they allowed that, but okay.
I really don't know. Yeah.
1933, first drive-in movie theater opens. You got to
Interesting.
love that. As a matter of fact, there is a subculture today of people that go around the country. There's only, I don't know, less than a 2 dozen
Hmm.
drive-in theaters, and it's like a Grateful Dead concert. People just come, and it's like a weekend thing, and they show a bunch of movies, and they're good to go. Obviously, a lot of these things all got sold because they put
Yeah.
up high rises, houses, or commercial buildings, but for the property.
We,
But here we go.
we did a chamber event or the one of the nonprofits I worked with. We did a charity event at one of these and way South Austin. And this one will never get sold because it was out in the middle of freaking nowhere. But we did that during the pandemic because we couldn't do our usual gala.
Yeah. 1956, rock and roll was banned in Santa Cruz,
Santa Cruz.
California. I would have figured it would have been somewhere in the Bible Belt first before Santa
Yeah.
Cruz,
Not
California.
Santa Cruz, California. Santa Cruz was, or California was a lot more conservative in the 50s than it is today.
Isn't that the feature in Pulp Fiction when he wore the shirt, the Santa Cruz banana something or
Yeah.
other?
Yep. Plus Santa Cruz, where Lost Boys was filmed.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
So next one, 1965, first American astronaut walks in
In
space
space.
as they kept building up until they got obviously went on the moon.
And do you know who that was?
1967, the Beatles released their game-changing music, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. I liked
Mm,
the album, wasn't my favorite. Abbey Road by far is my favorite, especially the back of the B side. But
mm.
White Album and Rubber Soul
Yep.
can't. I mean,
Awesomeness.
those are the best. But Sergeant Pepper definitely changed things for everybody.
We all live in a yellow submarine, that's for sure.
I hated that album. I hated that song. I hated that. I hate that song. Get Back. Yeah, just I
Yeah.
don't know. Those weren't to me. Those weren't great Beatles songs. Anyway,
Yeah.
1968,
Uh,
RFK is fatally shot in L.A. 1980, he just died.
CNN. Yep.
CNN launches. Yep, changed everything there. 1989, Dead Poet Society releases
Wow.
second theaters. Now, look, over time, you're probably saying, Ron, you could have put in some of the releases of some of the greatest movies of all time. This was, if you remember, Robin Williams' first serious movie. I don't include The World According to Garp, right?
No, that was
I
just
think
weird.
Dead
Yeah.
Poet, this changed a lot of thinking about movies and his
Mhm.
role. And I was 21 at the
Well,
time, and I
and
just thought it was a
just
movie.
absolute, yeah, absolute genius. It was such a good movie.
I
And
tell you,
you,
I haven't watched it in a while.
yeah,
But
we watched it I think about 6 months ago, and
oh,
I'm like I've forgotten how much I love that movie. It's
my,
just he was yeah, yes, he was funny, hilarious, and he was nuts, but he was actually a really good dramatic
yeah,
actor.
but the problem is he struggled with depression his whole
Yep.
life. So when he had to turn on the serious switch, that was his true self.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. What was the famous line from the movie?
Carpe diem.
And
Seize the day. What else? I don't remember.
my captain,
Oh, Captain. Oh, Captain, my Captain.
oh,
Yes.
captain, my
Walt
captain. There
Whitman.
you go.
Walt Whitman.
All right. So gas prices. So still elevated. I can tell you, California and Arizona, we have the highest gas prices in the nation. This is
Mhm.
AAA data. The average right now is 442. I didn't realize that gas was so high in 2022.
Oh, heck yeah.
I know with inflation, things were up, but I don't remember gas being so high. But here we
No, it
are, we're
was,
going into the
yeah,
summer months.
it was,
I
yeah, it
wouldn't
was,
doubt it that if gas prices stay where they are, we will go elevated in late June and July just because of summer travel.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's the production though. I think our production is offsetting some of this. This is an
Not
artificial.
enough.
Yeah, this is actually it is just it's affecting mainly the Asian countries. We are producing way more than we need here. We're net exporters here, but
In case our
it's
gas prices should be a lot lower.
no because it's
European, it's
global.
always been high and going
Yeah.
higher because they can't
It's
get it.
globally, yeah, it's globally traded, and European is largely because they have to import everything, and two, they have ridiculous taxes that they slam on it on gas over there, just like California, who shoots themselves in their own foot. They cut
Yeah,
down production and raise the prices with gas taxes. I don't feel sorry for them, but yeah, once again, once the Straits of Hormuz open up, this will come cratering back down and it'll be back in that 350 or below range.
I hear you. All right. So the $1 trillion club was how fast it went from 500 billion, not
500
million,
billion.
500 billion
Okay.
to a trillion. So let's just stick in the middle here. NVIDIA, which we all saw what happened in the last 3 or 4 years. This took almost 500 trading days. Now let's think about what
Yeah.
trading days are, right? So if you take out weekends and everything else, there's roughly 20 trading days in a month, give or take,
Yep.
probably really 21, 22. 20
Yep.
trading days in a month.
240 a year.
That's
Yeah.
240. This took 2 years. NVIDIA, 2 years. Micron took a less than a month.
Yeah. And the funny thing, if you look at NVIDIA though, it took I think NVIDIA came out in the early 2000s
Yeah,
and
2004,
it
five, or
didn't get
six.
above $20 a share until 2 years ago. Two,
No, it started to go up about, I'm going to tell you, 10 years ago because they were
okay.
very involved in gaming chips. That was
Yes.
their
Yep.
niche.
That was their big thing. Yep.
Then they started going up and they were very volatile. Once they got involved in AI, that's when it
Yeah.
tripled and they did the split and everything else.
Yeah.
So it's been the last 4 years that's probably gained about 70 or 80% of its market cap.
Yeah.
But even
It's
look
amazing.
at Walmart.
Yeah, I know. Surprisingly, and then look at Apple versus Walmart. That's crazy.
Yeah, and Apple's been struggling, but I don't think we need to
Mm,
worry about them. So Microsoft's
yeah.
been struggling too.
Yeah,
But
but even Meta and Alphabet, Walmart, that's amazing. And Walmart's been just an amazing thing watching over the last few years, especially. It just languished along, and then they figured out the whole, hey, we can take on Amazon with our own online thing, and that's just been the rocket ship for them.
I think just to prove the point of Buffett, slow and steady, baby. Slow
Oh,
and
it's
steady
slow.
all the way up there.
Oh,
It
it's
works.
slow.
It works. It works. Okay. So here, savings rate. I like to look at this every now and then. I probably
Mm,
haven't covered it minimum a year, maybe
yeah,
longer too. I love to look at the savings rate because historically, and I don't have a chart to compare it, we are one of the lowest in the world.
Yep.
You go to European countries, India, they're 6, 7, 8 to 10% of their
Mm.
income. So at
Yeah.
2.5%, that's what does that mean? We're just spending money. Or
Yeah.
and or we're spending money we don't have. I don't know what your thoughts are. This is not good. But again,
Well,
it's a high
interest.
savings rate in the US that typically means things aren't great in the economy.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, I think we did some kind of a piece on this, or I brought it up during the year. Highest savings rate in the world is Ireland, and it's 60% or something like that. It's something weird and off the charts high. But yeah, there's some countries in the world where it's 30 or 40% versus our little meager 6%. Yeah.
Yes,
And
yeah.
I think it's a challenge. If we could just go back to 2020 and just have the government dumping a whole bunch of money on people, then we'd have a tons of a savings
No,
rate.
they spent the money. Ideally, I think 6 to 8% is the right way to go. And I don't
Yeah,
think we would have the retirement crisis we would.
absolutely not. How many people do you and I worked with over the years where they come to us at early 60s and they've got maybe 60, 70 grand? It's
I was on the
the
phone with
pers
somebody last night. She's going through a divorce. She doesn't have much and she's worried. I'm like, look, you know what? What's the old expression? The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today.
yeah,
And she was
yeah.
young enough. I'm like, now you got
You
to
got
do
to
it for
get
yourself.
started. Yeah, you got to get started.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
Yeah.
And you've got to figure out other ways to, yeah, you got to figure out ways to generate income because it's not an asset problem in retirement, it's an income problem.
I
So
know.
figure
I know.
out ways to generate income.
Yep. And then the core PCE, I kind of get why it's the Fed likes
Yeah.
it. I'm not a big fan of the CPI, never really have.
Yeah.
But there's so many things that you can extract out to see where things are. Some things are doing well, other things are not doing well. But
Hmm.
inflation is definitely ticking up. And I don't know, I got to look again, but the chances of a rate hike, which by the way, the new Fed chairman Warsh could nix and on his own. I don't know how that is. I thought it was just pure consensus, but I
Hmm.
don't know how they could potentially do a rate decline, a cut, because even though it would help out in other ways with our debt and whatever, but if we're trying to curb inflation, we got to get out of these wars.
Yeah. Once again, I'm not going to get on my soapbox again of how I don't necessarily believe in the Fed in a lot of these cases and their logic when
You
it
don't want the
comes to.
politicians to control it.
Yeah, I don't want them to control it either because it's how much time did they spend monkeying around keeping inflation rates so insanely low and just literally created an asset inflation bubble. So I don't like anybody manipulating and monkeying around in this stuff. And tell me Jay Powell wasn't massively freaking political.
All right, look at this. Who then should control and decide on Fed interest rates?
Well, if you want me to be truly honest, I don't think they should be involved at all. I think
No,
they
but
should
no, but
pull,
who should
yeah.
make the decision?
Yeah. Once again, we're going to have to because that's the way things work. But honestly, I think the market set interest rates much better.
Wait, you're going to
Yeah.
have traders
Yeah.
involved in doing interest rates?
But they already do.
Oh
The
my.
Fed
All
doesn't,
right.
yeah, the Fed doesn't. Fed controls open market actions. They don't control long-term interest rates. That's all controlled by the bond market.
I know that. I know that. All right, we can have a separate podcast on that. All right, what do you got?
All right, let's go here real quick. All right, get back to the beginning here. Once again, interesting things going on in the economy with all the complaints of, oh my God, everything's bad in the economy. It's really not. Yes, gas prices suck. Yes, inflation that's out there. But when we're starting to look at some of the behind the scenes stuff, the actual companies, it's actually pretty intriguing. So, this week, ISM Services Index and Manufacturing Index both kind of were in the same situation. They came in way above or right at the top end range of consensus, and anything over 50 is expansionary. Anything below 50 is basically we're declining. So this has been consistent all year long, and really for about the last year and a half, we've had ISM both of them just cranking along. So that's good. It means we're in an expansion mode there. Here was the interesting thing. So let me start with this because this was a headline number that I heard this morning. Oh, jobless claims. My God, they were way up 225,000 versus the consensus of 212, and the prior one was 212. Oh my God, the world is bad. People are getting laid off. Don't get so crazy because one of our old friends, JOLTS, which is the job openings basically for the world, for the here in the United States, it's been ambling along. It's been slowly kind of creeping down over the last several years, getting back into this kind of 6.8 range. That's where we've traditionally been. Well, all of a sudden, it's spiked up quite a bit to 7.6 for this last month, which is big. That's a lot of job openings. So that could easily absorb this 225,000. The interesting thing is the ongoing claims have actually continued to go down. So that's a good sign. People are getting absorbed back into the workforce. And I would say with this JOLTS number, that's going to absorb a lot more people into the index. What or into the job world. What's your thoughts, Ron?
Uh, the fact that there are more job openings is not a good sign. That means people are
Hmm.
laying off. Does that mean people are laying off, or does that mean that they can't fill them with the skills that they need?
No, I think there's a lot of, I think a lot of job creation is going on. As I read through the stats, a lot of job creation is going on. Now, can those people that were laid off get those jobs? I don't know. If it's a skill level that they don't have the skill sets. Anybody I would say that doesn't have a job right now, spend some time learning AI because that's what's gonna help you to get a job because that's where the jobs are going is people that really understand and can leverage that. It was funny. I was listening to I think it was on financial or it was on like local news, but they were interviewing this company president, and he goes, "We use AI. It's something that's extremely important to us. And right now, if we got people on staff that are just not on board, they're probably not going to be around any longer." I
Yeah.
want them to be around, and I want us to be highly efficient. But if you're just digging your heels in and saying no, I'm sorry. I can find somebody else who is willing to at that
Yeah.
point. You know, I
Yeah.
just think that's the reality. All right, so last couple things, ADP employment report, once again, that kind of came off the way above where we had been. It's been going up every single month. So this is what I would say supports that trend in the JOLTS is there's just a lot more openings. And where ADP, I don't think was a really good indicator over the last, let's say, 6 years. I think it's starting to become a better indicator because we're getting more job creation in the small companies, the people that ADP deals with. They're actually really starting to create jobs. And it's not the manufactured jobs that we were kind of seeing from the federal numbers over the last several years, where they were just manufacturing government jobs to make the numbers look good. Government numbers have been going down over this last, let's say, 18 months with the change in administration, but private jobs have been actually going up, which is a much better sign. These are actually productive companies hiring more people. And last but not least, and this was an interesting one, it's one that I don't usually look at, but I just kind of glanced across it. Productivity and cost. So non-farm productivity actually was down a little bit. So we're at the bottom of the consensus range, but this was a really interesting thing. Unit labor costs. So this is for Q1. Unit labor costs were actually below consensus. It was expected to be up 2.3%. It was actually 1.8, which is really intriguing that one, it's probably not good from the perspective of somebody who's actually working and has now inflation and gas prices up, but labor costs are down. It's intriguing and it's something we just need to keep an eye on. But yeah, it was a weird, it just stuck out to me this time. And it's one of those areas that it's the major effect for most businesses, the cost of labor.
Yeah. That's, that's part of the problem is, I mean,
Mm,
with efficiencies, you don't need as many people, obviously, to,
mm,
technology will do that. but people are still hiring. But that JOLTS number bothers me because I'm thinking to myself, if these are more job openings, is that true expansion, or are
Hmm.
they weeding out people to bring in better skilled people and they can't find them?
Yeah. But JOLTS is always new job openings. It's not, it's not okay, just aggregate it's actually new job openings is what it measures.
Well,
So
we'll
I
find
think,
out tomorrow with the
yeah,
employment number a
yeah,
little
the
more.
government employment report, which God knows what, if it's current or if it's or 3 months behind or whatever. It's amazing to me why they can't catch. But we've had that conversation about how they do some of these things, and it's so antiquated at this point. You would think that they
Unless
would
the
use
government's
AI to.
involved and the data is really bad, it makes no sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like I said, I'm starting to look at ADP as a little bit better measure of what's the real health of the economy from a company standpoint. Because if we keep seeing ADP jobs going up, that means companies are comfortable with, okay, yeah, we know our costs are a little bit higher, but we think we've got that handled and we can afford to hire more people and grow our companies. And yeah, I think a big part of this is the new tax regulations. That stuff really didn't start to kick in until January. And I think it's really starting to kick in massively now as these companies can get their hands around, okay, if we make this investment, we know we're going to get this ginormous tax break at the end of the year. So we can afford to hire the people to do this too.
Yeah. All right. We'll keep an eye on it.
One big, beautiful bill, baby. All right, folks, thank you for joining us. We do this for you guys, so make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we'll be back here next week to cover what's going on. So we'll see you then. Bye bye.